Welcome back to another episode on Forever Hardcore. So I know it's been a couple months since the last episode, but that's okay. I just decided to focus on like my single player and then Rotten Block, and I did a few episodes of that. But now I'm feeling like I need to come back to Forever Hardcore and probably get it wrapped up. At least my time here as host, I think I can maybe accomplish by the end of next episode. And to do that, I've actually laid out, this here is my book of goals. I have 9 goals that I wanted to achieve before I retire. And so I've organized some of those into this to-do list for this episode. And I think if I do it this way, I can probably get the rest of the stuff wrapped up in next episode. That way we can maybe get to the next host. It's pretty exciting. We do. I will say we do have the next host selected, and that's pretty exciting. But I'm not going to share who it is yet. But this episode, we are going to finish up the library. We're also going to add the kit shop, for people or future hosts to just quickly get geared up and stuff. Goal 5 was to add some farms that help people make books and quills. That way they can write books to put over there in the library. 1 and 4, is to reorganize or organize and prettify spawn. I do want to decorate some of the ugly farms that I have around here. We're also going to add some armorer villagers over here where we used to have the librarians, because we have the iron farm over there, and I figured kind of needed an easy way to get emeralds and stuff. And then I would like to move the villager breeder, or at least make it pretty. I haven't decided yet, but I just kind of added it here out of necessity, or I quickly put it here. I needed villagers, so I didn't really think about where I was putting it. So we might move it. But um, well, the creeper farm over here is a hole. It's a big hole, and I realize this is probably dangerous. I don't want people to get knocked out of the series because they fall down this farm. So we're gonna add a layer of water at the top of the farm. That way they can at least survive if they do fall down there. So I think the first thing I'm gonna do is some of the easier stuff, like this. I'm gonna go to the bottom. I'm gonna go down here. Is I'm a little afraid of falling down here and dying. So safely lie down, and I gotta put something there. There. All right, should be good now. All right, so that is done. I think when I start to decorate this farm, I might put like an exit or something. Yeah, maybe like a bubble vader outside the chunk. I don't want to add a ladder inside the chunk, because that might increase the height map, and that would affect the efficiency of the farm here. So I think I'll add a bubble vader outside, but I need to get into flying mode. Come on. Yeah. So that should be safe now, and that was pretty easy, so we can take that off the list. What do I want to do? Maybe I'll work on this. That shouldn't take long. The only reason we're gonna add like the armor smiths, we might do tool smiths or weapon smiths, I don't know. But I need emeralds, and I have a lot of iron, so I think getting some of them would be the easiest way to do this. All right, well, this didn't take too long, but we got 8 villagers in here, and they all are trading a little bit of iron for emeralds, and I ended up trading four stacks of iron block worth of iron for what I've got here. So this should be plenty for myself, and in the future hosts and stuff, they should be able to get plenty of emeralds for themselves and go up there, trade for books, and get armor enchanted and stuff. Plus, all these villagers, they have some diamond armor that people can buy. There's some pretty good ones in here. I think there's feather falling, though. I think I got feather falling 4 on books and stuff. But yeah. be pretty good, you know. People can choose what they do. Then I've got a ton, a ton of armor here. But yeah, so the next thing I think I'm gonna do, I got one little thing I've got to do up here in the library. I think I was gonna wait to do it, but might as well do it now. So I have had an issue with the crafting system for the paper. You know, the sugarcane farms up above, and then it crafts everything in the paper, and the system that I've got is kind of wonky, so we gotta go and fix that. Let me get these emeralds put away, put some of this stuff away. Alright, we're gonna grab that. Do we have any blocks? Yeah. So the redstone I've got back here is a little janky, and I want to try to fix that because, yeah, you can see, yeah, it just gets clogged and it breaks, and it's not great. Oh God, that I gotta be careful. I got lava down here. All right, so I'm just gonna clear out this area, and then I can get things fixed. Give me my bucket. See, what I want it to do is craft paper and put it in these chests. But I also want an overflow system, so if it, once these are full or whatever, I'd like for the paper to be destroyed. And that's what that lava was for. So how do I want to do this? Alright, so when these hoppers fill up, that paper should just get destroyed. So we're just gonna cover things up. I think I can do this. Alright. Now this is done. Get our water. Alright, well, we got the thing done over there at the library, and, well, I think the next thing we're gonna start doing is decorating all the farms that I've got around the area. And I've decided I'm not going to move the villager breeder somewhere else just because I don't want to have to maybe kill the villagers over there. But I think it would just be easier if I leave it here and we just redecorate it or something. But I think the first farm I'm gonna try to get decorated is the creeper farm that's over here. Okay, well, I've got a little bit of a, I don't know, a foundation to work on. Yeah, but I don't really have much of an idea of what this thing is going to look like. I know it just needs to look kind of pretty. But do I kind of blend it with the retirement home that's up there, or with the library and that over there? I don't know. And you remember earlier in the episode I said this wasn't that effective or efficient? I think it's actually doing a lot better than kind of expected it to. But I don't know. I had an idea that maybe I just do some like jagged stone formations around it. That could look kind of cool. I guess I can try that. That wouldn't hurt. I think that's what I'm gonna do. All right, so the creeper farm is all decorated and stuff, and yeah, it's a pretty basic wall. It does function the way it needs to. Like I can't jump over the wall. There is a spot where I could parkour. Like, yeah, like right here, I could parkour. Oh, I'm hungry. But there's like no way I could accidentally fall in. And then I wasn't quite sure about this here, but I think it's all right. Functions, it does what it needs to do. It stores all the gunpowder. There is only like one set of hoppers, so once these are full, I'll just move over gunpowder. So it's not too big of a deal. And then over here, I didn't know what to do with the villager breeder, so I took some inspiration from the library over there and made a miniature. It's kind of funny. It worked pretty well. I do have to leave the hole here, that way the villagers can pathfind to the beds that are here. But other than that, yeah, doing pretty good. Over here is the basalt and cobblestone farm, and yeah, it's looking pretty good. I was able to cover up everything. I did have to bring up some of the terrain, that way I could get like a level foundation for the whole build. But yeah, it's looking pretty good. And then over here, if it's not obvious, this is the iron farm. And a while ago, I was thinking we could cover it up with the head of an iron golem. And it's not proportional or anything, but it does look like what it needs to. So yeah, doing pretty good. But I'm gonna go up there to the spawn platform. That way we can get a look at everything down here. So when new hosts come into this world, this is basically what they're gonna see. Just a random golem head over there, and some cool buildings. You got Shady Meadows back there. That looks pretty funny from over here. But this is pretty cool. Uh, it yeah, that's pretty ugly from this angle. But oh well, there's not much I can do with the creeper farm. I do have to leave that hole there, so yeah. So now that all the farms are all decorated and stuff, I can come back into the library now and we can start getting this all wrapped up. So if we take a look at the rest of the things or the other items that we need to do. So this is what we're going to be focusing on. And then yeah, so we did that. That's all done. And so we'll do this once this is all done. So to finish the library, I'd like to get the kit shop in here and the chicken farm. And I think I can just add the chicken farm to the kit shop. So we gotta, I think I do have to modify some of this. I think I'm gonna get these things that go up to the wall there where the netherrack is. And then, yeah, maybe, I was thinking the kit shop could probably go on this floor somewhere. We can't cover this up. I want to leave it open. So, I don't know. The kit shop could probably, I don't know, be over here. I got quite a bit of space I could use. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll just use this section for the kit shop. Maybe. I don't know. I think I'm gonna just make some adjustments to the library here and maybe do some planning, and then we'll come back and do some building. Okay, so I've done a little bit of work here on the first floor. You can see maybe that I've adjusted the tuff here. I had to bring it out to the wall here. That way, I don't know, I didn't have like a gap here. And then the staircase that goes up to the second floor, it was clipping through the ceiling here, so I've had to adjust that a little bit. And then, yeah, you can see I've got the entryway all done. Back here behind the paintings, I've got the turtle eggs. That way I can kind of cull or, kill all the zombie piglins that come into the library through the nether portal there. And then I had to do a little bit of work to make the outside transition into the inside. So you can see there's like a little light there. Looks like a floating orb or I don't know. But keeping like the spruce there on the entryway, it's dark enough that you can't really see it. So I think that helps a lot. And then up here, I've added a floor because I think, I don't know, I just need something I can run along as I'm building the walls and stuff. And I think back here where I have a lot of open space, this is where the kit shop's going to be. So we're going to have like armor, tools, and weapons, and maybe food, and maybe some other resources. Maybe just a bunch of books and stuff. This is a library, and I want people to be able to write books and keep track of like their books and quills. So we might have some of those resources for making these. But I think what I want to do first before I get that stuff figured out is basically get the interior done. So I need to figure out the walls. And I collected a bunch more tuff because I think what I want to do is build like these archways that go around. So like some columns, and then maybe up here I have like a curved bit, and then I just want it to be like a repeating pattern all the way down. And yeah, I just want it to look like kind of like a wave shape. And yeah, this is kind of what I was thinking. We have a bunch of archways, and then we've got like the kind of this wavy look to it. And I think it worked out pretty well, so I've already built it on the other side. And so now all we've got to do is add in the wall that goes behind the archways. And so I was thinking we would use kind of a lighter color, maybe stripped birch, maybe some sand, but I don't have any of those resources, so I think I'm gonna go get some more of that stuff, and then come back and I think I'll try to wrap up the rest of this interior. Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. All right, so I'm standing outside the library because I've turned my brightness down to 35%, so it might get a little dark in a moment. But I wanted to start out here because we're gonna go in, and I wanted to experience the interior with you guys. I mean, I've already been in here, so it's not like I don't know what it feels like, but it might be a little dark. But we're using a lot of like soul lanterns, and it kind of keeps the mood in here pretty gloom, pretty dark. So I'm gonna head back here, and this is probably my favorite area. I've got a few more torches I've got to get rid of, but we're gonna do some decorating in here, add some tables. I think I'm gonna do candles to light up this area. But this is probably my favorite area, and after working on the upstairs, getting all the walls and stuff, I also I used some sculk. I went and got some sculk for the ceiling up there, and I tried to do this light feature. It looks like a spinning galaxy. Think I think it looks pretty good for this scale. But I thought it'd be pretty cool with like the night sky that you see this big spiraling galaxy and stuff. And yeah, this is probably my favorite room. It feels so good. I did get a zombie in here. I guess it was a little dark in here, and I've gotta fix that guy in a little bit, but I just don't have the gold for it right now. But we're gonna make our way upstairs. And yeah, so this is really dark up here. I did end up covering the floor. I put all the strip zone in, but then I covered it with the pale moss carpets. But yeah, I've got the walls all covered up. I'm using Skulk up there for the ceiling, and I'm doing some hidden lighting down here to kind of keep the gloomy darkness up here. It's very ethereal, and I think this is what we're gonna kind of keep it feeling like. But over here towards the front of the library, this is where we're gonna have the kit shop. So I think I'm gonna turn up the brightness now. You still get a little bit of the effect. Hopefully it's a little easier to see, but over here we're gonna have the kit shop. So I'm thinking, armor, tools, and weapons, maybe some other stuff if I have space. But over here I'm thinking a little like we add some resources, so maybe buckets, some beds, maybe things like wings, emeralds, and all that. I did actually have to heal the zombies or cure the zombies down here one other time. So the prices of the books are pretty cheap. So I think I'm gonna go through here. I've collected a bunch of emeralds, so I think I'm gonna go through here, get a bunch of books at some point, and just stock the kit shop with a bunch of books and stuff. But the last thing I've got to do here in the library is add a bunch of details. So we're gonna get the dragon egg in here, probably add a bunch of tables back here, and then maybe some bookshelves in the kit shop up here. So yeah, I'm gonna spend a little bit more time doing that stuff, and then we should be good to like wrap up the library, which pretty cool. Yeah. Well, we have done it. The library is all done, basically. There's not really anything I've got to do in here anymore. But yeah, so I got the dragon egg in here. I felt like I had to get some diamond block in there. But we have a book here that describes everything about the library. What everything in here is meant for. So you can read through that if you want. But yeah, so the bookshelves that line the walls here, they are for future hosts to maybe write books. I don't know if they want to write stories, maybe keep track of a journal, something. And then maybe at the end of their turn, they can put the book here in the library. It also talks about the librarians back here and all this paper that we're crafting up. I did get this room decorated, so there's like these tables that you can sit at. Maybe there's a lecture going on. As you probably saw in the thumbnail, it's me standing up here. You know, yeah, pretty cool. The book also describes everything on the second floor, so if we make our way up there, you can see we got the kit shop all done. So I've spent spent quite a bit of time putting together a lot of armor from the armorers. I figured I'd do that since it was pretty cheap. But yeah, I'm also reminding future hosts to check all the chests because the armor in these top chests gonna be a little different. I'm gonna be doing some end busting, so we're gonna get some armor to put into here. I do need to get some tools stocked up. I do have bows and arrows, but no swords. And I do gotta get some more wings. Maybe get more than what I need here. Some shields if people need shields. I don't really use shields, so I'm not too concerned. Over here, I also had a bunch of cheat books that I could get, so I got a bunch of those. So people should really be able to get geared up quick. Got a ton of emeralds that we could maybe continue working on stocking up these other two chests. This chest is for the book and quills, so it's going to contain the ingredients, the leather, maybe feathers, and ink sacs. The paper is down below, so don't really need to stock it up here. And then some empty chests, an empty column. I'm going to try to get this chest all finished up. You know, I got to get more logs and stuff. Ton of cobble, coal, iron, and then we have a ton of food from the Piglin or the Hoglin farm, a bunch of beds, and then in here I figured let's do some buckets, torches, crafting tables, and I need to get some ender chests in here. But yeah, so the kit shop is basically to, you know, let the future host get geared up pretty quickly. Like you've got all the armor, tools over there, and then a bunch of resources. So they'll come in here, get their stuff, and basically, I don't know, maybe they'll head out into the world and do their own thing, or they stick around spawn. It doesn't really matter what they choose to do. And then this second floor is also kind of like a museum. So along the wall, you'll see like all these item frames. So what I want future hosts to do is like pick an item or a tool, a block that best represents them, put their name on it, and then they can put it somewhere here in the library. That way, like future hosts, they can walk through and just see everyone who has hosted this world before them. But yeah, the library is all done, so there's not really anything left to do here. So let's take a look back at all the to-do list. So that's all done here, or at least this was just a reminder of the things I wanted to stock. We didn't get to the chicken farm, but it didn't really work out inside the library. But we did get this stuff done. And the only thing we aren't going to do this episode is prettifying spawn and doing lodestones and stuff. But next episode, I've already created my to-do list. I've added that last task and the chicken farm and the squid farm. So we're going to try to get those things done early next episode. Then we need to finish lighting up caves for the creeper farm, so that way it's a little bit more efficient. And we're going to do some end busting, get some more gear, and get some more wings. I might try to get some more shulker boxes too, because I've used up a lot of the shulker shells. I do need to add one more decorative thing to Shady Meadows back there. It's just something I've kind of put off, but we need to add the attendants to the preservation tank, you know, the retirement facility thing. And I want to clean up the nether roof. That way, I don't know, maybe I'll do something to make it kind of pretty up there, but it'll be kind of like a basic nether hub. And I saved this for last because, you know, it's a non-essential. You know, just in case I died, this wasn't like an important thing to get to. So I don't know if the statue will be like a one-to-one representation of myself, or I don't know, maybe something a little bit more abstract. Like I might, you know, I got my eyebrows, you know, that's kind of my branding. Might do something with that. I don't know. Maybe. But yeah, like we're we're getting really close to the end. Like next episode, we should be able to wrap up everything. So yeah, that's kind of nerve-wracking, but kind of exciting too to get someone new in here to host the world and to see what they come up with. That'll be pretty cool. But yeah, we're at the end, and yeah. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See ya.